Hello everyone, Castle Queenside here, and today I want to share with you another great game. This one was played between Karpov Anatoly, who was playing with white, and Kamsky, who was playing with black pieces. Obviously, most of you know who Anatoly Karpov is. He's a chess grandmaster from Russia, a living legend, a former world champion, and one of the best chess players of all time. And Kamsky is a strong grandmaster from the United States of America. He's a Soviet born, but from 1989 he's playing for the United States, also a strong player, and Karpov and Kamsky played many games. And many people say that this game is actually one of Karpov's biggest wins in his career. So you will see the game and you will make a judgment for yourself. So without any further ado, we will go straight into the game. Karpov started the game with d4, Kamsky responded with knight f6, c4 for Karpov, and g6 for black. So we are already entering a King's Indian defense. Knight f3 for white, and bishop g7 for black, g3 for white, and c6 for black. Bishop g2, standard developing moves, followed by d5 by Kamsky. All of these were book moves, so nothing extraordinary about this. The black is striking in the center and making a counterplay. C takes on d5, c takes on d5, and now knight c3 played by Karpov. Castle kingside for black, and knight e5 was played for Karpov. He's already taking space with his knight since there is no more pawn that can protect this field on e5. The black responds with e6, which is a good move, protecting his pawn. Castle kingside for white, and knight f to d7. The idea for black is to exchange this strong knight and remove him as he is taking too much space. And now f4 was played by Karpov. Computer sees this as an inaccuracy and recommends moving this knight behind, but the Karpov idea in this position was if the black takes this knight, the white can retake with f takes on e5 and he can open the f file. So that was the idea for white in this position. Knight c6, this is the best move for the black, putting even more pressure on this knight. And bishop e3 was played by Karpov. Knight goes on b6, again inaccuracy by the computer. Computer recommends another move, and that is knight e7. So computer recommends moving this knight on e7. Of course this is a computer and we cannot calculate that deep, but this is not a mistake, this is just an inaccuracy spotted by the computer. Bishop f2 was played for the white, and now bishop d7 for the black, just continuing his development and preparing the rook on c8. And now e4 was played by Karpov. Karpov strikes in the center. This is a good move and he wants to open the position, especially for his bishop pair. Knight goes on e7, which is a good move as recommended by the computer just a move ago. And now knight takes on d7 and queen takes on d7, so white decides to play on his bishop pair in this position. And now e5 was played by Karpov. A great move, also recommended by the computer. With this move, simply we lock this black bishop and he becomes really useless in this position. Rook a to c8 was played by black, taking this open file, and rook to c1 was played by the white. And now a6 was played for the black. Black simply wants to protect this b5 field and protect this field from the entrance of the white knight. So the white responded with b3. So the white also doesn't want the black knight coming on a4 on c4. This is a great move, and Karpov found the best move in this position. So the game continued with rook c7 for Kamsky. Kamsky now wants to double his rooks on this c file, and queen d2 for Karpov, just to connect these two rooks. Rook f to c8, that was the idea of moving the rook to c7. And g4 now for the white. Another great move by Karpov. Karpov is slowly but surely starting an attack on the black king. Bishop f8 was played. It is a good move. f5 was recommended by the computer, so striking with this pawn here. But bishop f8 is good as well because you have to find a way to activate this bishop, because on this field g7 he's really weak. The game continued with queen e3. An inaccuracy by the computer, and computer recommended king to h1. just to open the G file and to prepare the rook coming on G1. And knight C6 was played. So this move is an inaccuracy by the computer. The computer sees it that way, and computer recommends knight to A8, believe it or not. So computer has some deep lines included. Of course, we're not computers, but this is not a human move, and especially because if you move the knight to A8, he cannot go back on C7, for example. So this is definitely something a human wouldn't play, and this knight to C6 is a perfectly decent move, and most of us would play it in our games. And right now F5 was played by Karpov. Computer sees this as an inaccuracy, as this pawn is hanging here, and Karpov's idea was simply just to, if the black decides to take, he will take with G pawn, and right now if the black decides to take either with the black queen or his pawn, the lines will open up. This bishop will open up, the G5 will open up, and this is a pretty decent idea by Karpov. Of course, computer sees knight e2 as the best move in this position, with probably idea of moving to G3 and help with the attack. So the game continued with bishop a3. Now computer sees this as a mistake and recommends taking this pawn. So computer sees a defense. I'm guessing after getting this pawn, computer sees that the black will be fine, but of course this is some deep calculation and the black didn't want to do that. Right now the white rook is attacked, so rook c to d1 is played by Karpov. And now knight b4 was played for the black, a great move simply because we are taking more space and we are threatening this knight on c3. So the game continued with queen h6, a good move by Karpov. Already there is some checkmating threats, and there is no time to take this knight, I will show you. So in case the black decides to take this knight, then there is f6, and there is just simply no way to stop the mate on g7 square. So that is the reason why this was not an option for the black. So after queen h6, the black has to find a way to stop it, and he played queen e8. Right now after f6 the queen can come here and there is no more checkmate threat. The game continued with knight to b1. Right now Karpov attacks this weak bishop, and the game continues with bishop b2 by black. The queen returns to d2. Again, computer sees this as an inaccuracy and sees that a3 was the best in this position, so playing this pawn on a3 and attacking this knight. So with queen d2 we are now attacking this knight and we are attacking this bishop as well. The game continued with knight to c2. Right now the black removed all of his threats, and the knight is no longer hanging, the bishop is no longer hanging, and that is the way the black decided to protect from this attack. And now king h1, a silent move, but the idea is to slowly but surely take this g file with his rooks and try and open up black king's position. And now queen e7 was played for the black, so the black just wants to stay near his king in case of queen coming to h6 again. The black doesn't want to allow any kind of serious threats to his king, and computer sees that knight d7 was the best in this position. Obviously that's a computer move. And now bishop g1 was played for Karpov. Karpov just wants to save his dark squared bishop because he sees that this can be useful around black king. And after this move the game continued with knight to d7, so the black found a recommended move. And now rook f3 for Karpov, with the idea of going on h3 and maybe involve the queen on h6 with a checkmate threat on h7 and h8. So this was the obvious idea of white, so the queen responded with queen b4. So right now black decides he wants to trade queens, because it's kind of getting dangerous for black king, and he sees his opportunity in a much better rook position here, and if the queens are exchanged, this is a better position for black to play in. So that's the reason Karpov of course refused to do this, and again goes queen h6. The queen is forced to go back. We talked about the f6 checkmate threat, and now Karpov plays queen g5. An inaccuracy by the computer sees the best move is queen d2 here, so returning the queen on its original square as the best move. But of course this is not a mistake. queen g7, so the black decided to move his queen on this small diagonal just to stop black from again and again coming with the queen on h6. He doesn't want to deal with any of that. So the Karpov decided to play queen d2, which was a recommended move just a move before, but right now Karpov decides that his queen is no longer useful there as is on d2 square. And black played b6 in this position, which is an inaccuracy by the computer. It's not a mistake. The computer recommends h6 as the best move here for the black. And now rook d to f1 was played by Karpov. Simply Karpov sees that these rooks are better on the f file, and doubling them up now creates a threat on this field in the future. a5 was played for the black, a good move and the best move for black in this position, simply taking more space, and this can make an outpost for the knight on c2. And h4 was played for Karpov. So this is an inaccuracy by the computer. Computer sees that rook h3 was the best move, but Karpov probably didn't want to play this, as this queen in on g7 and moving the queen to h3 doesn't get him anything right now. But still Karpov sees that opening these g and h files will be the way to victory. So the game continued with knight to b4, and right now looks like this bishop is free for taking, but it's actually not, and I will show you why. So if the queen decides to take this bishop, then the rook will come to c2, the queen will be forced to a3, and after rook takes on h2, this queen will fall. This queen is trapped, she cannot come here, she cannot come here, this rook is covering c-file, and it will drop. So this was not a free piece, and after knight b4, the white decided to play a3. So best move actually in this position, just pushing this knight away from this strong outpost on b4. The game continued with rook on c2. Right now the queen is attacked and Karpov must find a good space for her. He decided to play queen to f4, which is actually the best in this position, so tripling this attacks on this f7 field. The game continued with knight c6 for black. Again, computer recommends knight a2 as the best move. So computer recommends instead of going back, you should go to a2, but the black couldn't find this move. This is not a mistake, of course, but this is just a stronger move by the computer calculation. The game continued with bishop h3, a good move right now, maneuvering his pieces and trying to improve his position as much as he can. There is not much he can do here right now at this position, and you can only try and move slow moves which can improve your pieces a little by little. And now the game continued with knight d8. An inaccuracy by the computer. Computer sees that king h8 was the best move. Again, only computer knows why this is the best move, because this is probably some long calculation. The game continued with bishop e3 for the white. Another great move, just as we talked before, slowly improving piece by piece, because there is not much you can do. And right now the game continued with b5 for black. This is an inaccuracy here. Computer sees that knight c6 was the best, so returning the knight on the same spot was the best, but the black decided to just push his pawns and grab even more space and possibly create some passed pawns when the situation, and if the situation allows it to happen, of course. Karpov now decided to trade his rooks, and he played rook 3 to f2. So right now this rook is under attack, this bishop is also under attack if the rook moves, and now black responded with b4, which is a great move. Right now, after the pawns trade, there will be a strong outpost on c3 for black knights. So the game continued with a takes on b4, a takes on b4, rook takes on c2, and rook takes on c2. And right now Karpov decides that he wants also to trade his other rook and continues with rook f2. The rook is now forced to take because there is no other rooks to protect this one. Rook takes on f2, queen takes on f2, and now bishop a3. Bishop a3 is good, but bishop c3 was the best recommended by the computer. The idea is the same, to create a strong passed pawn if the white decides to take this bishop. The white doesn't want to play that and plays queen c2. Computer sees this as a mistake, and the computer thinks that f6 was the best move for white in this position, as this would kick the black queen to f8 and lock the position, but still white has a bishop pair and he wants to keep this tension as long as possible, and he wants to play on the open position, on the possibility of the open position, of course, as much as possible. So that was the idea why f6 wasn't played. And now first sacrifice of the game happened. The black decided to play queen takes on e5. So the black decided to sacrifice this piece for 2 pawns and a good initiative and a good play after that. Computer sees it as a mistake and gives a serious advantage to white, so computer sees a counterplay to this. And of course counterplay happened here, but in Karpov's way, and you will see how. So the game continued with d takes on e5, and now queen takes on e5. The black has a strong pawn chain and has a free pawn here. After queen takes on e5, this bishop on e3 is also hanging, so Karpov decided in this position to actually create a counterplay, and he played queen c8. A great move. Gives this bishop for free and gives the possibility of giving check on e4 for free as well. So the game continued with queen e4 check, bishop returns on g2, and now queen takes on b1 with a check, king goes on h2, and now bishop b2 was played for the black. Black simply wants to remove any sorts of threats from this diagonal, as it is really dangerous because white dark squared bishop can come here and possibly create a checkmating threat. The game continued with queen takes on d8 with a check, king g7. After king g7, the white continues the attack with beautiful f6 check. There are no other moves for black in this position, and he must only take this bishop, and the game continues with bishop h6 check, another great move, and already the black is entering a mating net. The black is forced to take this bishop because he has no free squares to go. King takes on h6, and now queen retakes on f6. In this position there is already no defense, but black decided to play queen c2 to pin this bishop and at least try and stop bishop f3 in the future. So the white responds with g5 check, an excellent move. Right now the king is forced to go on h5, and right now another great move by Karpov, king g3. And after queen c7, king h3 was played, and after this move the black resigned, because there is no way he can stop a checkmate that is coming. The reason why black resigned because he cannot protect the checkmate threat on f3. So in this position after king h3, whatever the black does, for example if he plays this move, right now there is a bishop f3 check and you are forced to take this bishop, and there is a checkmate here. But we will go a little bit back. I will show you what would happen if after black's king h5 Karpov played king h3. So this would be a huge blunder, because right now Kamsky had this move, queen f5. So right now it is forced to take, and after g takes on f5, this is a draw by the computer, but still I would rather play black than white in this position. This would be a heavy draw, and the white needs to play really precise to draw this game. So only one move can possibly cost you game, so that is the reason why king g3 was actually a winning move for white in this position. So this was all for today's game. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As you saw, it was a really beautiful game, although it didn't look that way from the start. I really think this is one of the Karpov's best games, if not the best. You will be the judge of that. So if you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment, like and subscribe, as this will mean a lot to me. It will help me grow my channel, and it will help me make this YouTube channel my primary source of income, which I would really like. Thank you for all of your continuous support. I will continue making videos. I appreciate you all, and we will see each other in the next video. Bye bye.